Hello and welcome to this episode of the Winter Moon Podcast. I'm David.
I'm Brian.
I'm John Bushfax Bushman.
And we are here to bring you yet another episode of the show. This is episode 22. And we are going to be recapping our exhibition match that happened last week on Wednesday. If you haven't seen it, you can go over to our YouTube channel to watch it. And we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on it like we have in the past because we have a big topic to get to today, which is tunnel vision in games and how to sort of zoom out from your maybe narrow focus. So with that, we're going to get started into the recap. And it was me versus John. We played, what did we even play? I'm having a hard time remembering.
We played Breakthrough.
Breakthrough, that's right.
Bane of my existence.
Yes, Breakthrough. And then we played the secondary was Recon Mission.
Yes,
that's right.
Which also very much mattered.
Yes, it did. So in terms of lists, I was playing my Shadow Collective, which I'm going to be taking to LVO coming up here this week. We're recording on a Tuesday. I'm going to be putting this out hopefully on Thursday morning before I leave for LVO. And once I get to LVO, we'll be doing lots of cool things like scrambles and pods and doing content as well. We are not streaming LVO. We're going to be doing some behind the scenes recordings, maybe some interviews. We'll see what we can get together, but the stream will be Imperial Goldfish, and I'll link that in the podcast description. So with that, I was playing Shadow Collective. It is Maul with Force Push, Tenacity, Force Choke, Into the Fray, and Darksaber, as well as Improvised Orders. So sort of your Mega Maul kind of, 209-point beast. Probably one of the spendiest. I think the spendier Maul is like Tenacity Vigilance, which is even crazier. It's like 212. Yeah, you can go even crazier. Yeah. But then I had two Black Sun Enforcers with Magdets and frag grenades and Vigo guys. So it was surge tokens and all that good stuff. I had one unit of Black Sun just with the Vigo, no upgrades. So that was able to sort of hold back objectives or just have just more efficient dice to round out the 10th activation in the list. I had 3 swoop bike riders with Strike and Fade, which is phenomenal upgrade. It changes the unit completely. It lets you move 28 inches and get an entry frag as well, which is pretty nuts. No, not 28. It's slightly under 27, so it's like more like 26. But still, the fact that you can move 26 inches and shoot, which is nice, gives you a huge threat range and potential for overrun on the last move. And then to round out the list, I had 3 Mandalorian Super Commandos with Marksman, rockets, and 2 of them with transponders. I kind of ran out of points, so I had to make a compromise there and drop 1 transponder. I would have preferred to have all 3, but unfortunately that put me at 1,003 points. So yeah, I wasn't able to fit that in. Not allowed. Yeah, I run into this often. I'll find a list which is like, I'm just 1 point over. I have to make a sacrifice, and so I hate doing that because I'd rather have there's certain configurations that I prefer for certain units, and if I'm missing even 1 upgrade in that configuration, it gives me a little tweak in my brain. It really does. It's that completionist kind of this needs to be just so kind of way for list building that I'm like. Anyway, that's my list. John, what did you end up running?
How much did you say your Maul was again?
He's like 209 or something.
209.
Yeah.
So that was 4 more points than my Yoda was, which is wild to me.
Yeah, Yoda got that cost decrease.
My Force Push, Mind Trick, Burst of Speed Yoda all together is the same price as base Yoda when he was released.
What?
I'm pretty sure base Yoda was 205. This is 205.
Yeah, I mean they gave Maul a 0 cost Darksaber. It might not quite have been enough, but who knows? I don't think anyone plays it enough to know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yoda, he's not easy, but he feels good at the price.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he does.
Anyways, all right. So my list, same thing that I've been playing. I don't think I had any changes, but Yoda, Burst of Speed, Push, and Mind Trick. Bad Batch, Rex with Up Close and Personal, scouting, the Recon Intel for extra scout. He had a third thing, Trusted Agent. That's right. 3 core with medics, 2 commandos, and Delta Squad with O-Push. I think Delta Squad with O-Push is the last thing that I've changed about the list, but that was a month or 2 ago. Yeah, it feels really good. It has its strong points. It has its weak points. And I just try and not let my opponents know the weak points. And
You can't say that without giving away some of the some of this tech. I don't know if you're saving it for an event coming up soon, but
I mean, I think I talk about it in the article, so there is that.
That's true. Yeah, so we should
save
say that as well.
Yeah.
John wrote a long recap of his run at Crucible.
Very long brain
this year.
vomiting.
Yeah, just a big brain dump, and it's a really valuable brain dump for people who are interested in learning the thought processes behind competitive play. And we had a short teaser in the newsletter that'll hit you on Wednesday. So by the time you're listening to this movie, if you've already subscribed to the newsletter, you've probably already seen that teaser. But I definitely encourage people to sign up for the Substack as long as it's still pay to read. But go ahead and do that. But John's recap is excellent. It has a whole it has pictures in it that we took at Crucible, and I did a table of John's run.
Nice.
So he has all the stats there, including victory points and outcomes and battle cards. You can see it all nicely laid out. Totally worth the read. And I will say for our game, just to sort of moving back to our game to recap, the terrain was lots of height 1 and height 2 stacked up buildings, I would say, kind of spread out all over the map. And I mean, Brian, if you want to chime in here, you can tell us maybe a little bit about what you saw from the commentator's booth.
Yeah, the terrain was good. It was there was a fair bit of line of sight blocking, especially it was interesting. It would have felt much more normal if you played something like Close the Pocket or something like Shifting Priorities, but because it was Breakthrough, there was some massive line of sight blockers on either end.
Both corners there.
Yeah, both corners, and so it made for a very interesting game where both of you guys could relatively get to where you needed to relatively safely, which was kind of interesting.
Which meant that firing lanes were super blocked for my commandos that want 2 rounds of shooting before that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah. I think John's commandos were basically denied their long range shooting the entire game because of how blocked the table was.
Yeah, I didn't shoot range 4 once.
Yeah. So I kind of lucked out there by.
I've been seeing that a lot about TTS tables, especially these Invader League ones. There are a ton of firing lanes that are blocked. And it's kind of all or nothing, where that's not really the case in real life tournaments.
Right.
Real life tournaments, it's very hard to hide from the commandos.
Mm-hmm.
But I've played on 8 or 9 of these maps from the Invader League season 11 and 12. And every time it's just, here's big LOS here. Here's big LOS there. But anyways, I digress.
Well, I mean, my experience reflects your experience too, John. I think when I played against commandos over the board, on offline, I guess we could call it. When I played against commandos over the board, it is really tough to keep them from hitting you at range 4 at least once or twice.
Yeah.
When I was in an older iteration of the list, when I was playing 6 Black Suns, we were playing Sweep and Clear, and I misdeployed once, and it was like, wow, I'm picking up 4 Black Sun, and if I don't get cunning to move this unit, I will lose a point.
Yeah.
So it's one of those kind of awkward situations when you play a short range skew into a list like the Commandos, which has such high range and high projection, with Bad Batch and the triple.
They're great
commandos.
at Sweep and Clear because of that. They can get that round 1 kill where most lists can't. I mean, there are lists coming that are becoming more popular that can, but getting that round 1 kill isn't something that every list can do, and that's big for momentum of Sweep and Clear. You can catch up because it's only 4 scoring opportunities. You could do it 2 through 5 or 1 through 4 rounds, 2 through 5 rounds, 1 through 4, but.
I think it's worth mentioning that both of us had tech in our lists that kind of pinned our opponents back in their deployment zone. because we were kind of talking a little bit last episode about threat ranges and zoning. And so
Yeah.
I think both of our lists accomplished that fairly decently. Like, you never want to put yourself in a position where your commando is going to drop and then drop, 4 red on you. And likewise with the Mandalorian Super Commandos, like, you never want to put a unit in a position where all 3 Mandos are going to get their rockets on target. And dump 12 dice at range 4. So we're both doing the same thing via different avenues.
Yeah,
but we have some tech. Yeah.
Also infiltrating Maul, right?
Right.
Like, I mean, if you are playing, if you're a rebel player or another player that plays with scout units or clone player that plays with arcs, if you're kind of going through the motions and on autopilot and not being very careful with your measurements, Maul's going to eat you round 1. He's going to get some food. So
you're going to get fed.
Yeah.
And he's gonna dive in, double move, force push, swing, choke, and kill like 3 or 4 arcs at least. Maybe more. Depends on the rollout. But
this
is another reason I like Tenacity on the Darksaber these days, because I like having that extra red die. It really props up the damage when you roll bad. But it's I think it's better to have the surges. It's just my opinion. Like, I think having the surge on defense is. I feel like Maul is already fragile enough. He needs as much longevity as he can find to make him worth that 200 plus points price tag.
Users, in approaching melee, feel a lot better with the new deflect, but once they get to melee, it can be very fragile. You're right.
Yeah. So we were both fighting around these big line of sight blockers, like you said, and then there was like this forest with like a wall. And it was like this garden wall. I had trouble navigating it, frankly. It was tough because the wall was on my side, and I couldn't enter the terrain willingly, or I had to like jump in. I mean, I had Mandos that could do it, and I had Maul that could do it, but it made things really awkward. And there was even a moment in round 2 where I miscounted my my captures, and I shot when I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And I think I lost out on an early score due to miscounting, and that's another vital skill that all competitive players need is POI math. You have to be able to, like, if you're going to do my strategy, which is to rush the breakthrough point and trade, you have to be able to do the math correctly. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. And I even forgot that Yoda could just force push Mind Trick.
Yeah.
And that killed me even worse. So not having the swoops up the field further kind of hurt me. Because swoops can't be force pushed.
It's true. You did have to play those swoops pretty carefully, though, because if you did leave them out, then John had spots to put a commando squad down and take a good shot. And so I thought you did a good job round 1 hiding those swoops.
I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
they needed to hide, and you did that correctly. It was just the Mandos. I think the Mandos got a little daring.
They did. They did.
Round 1.
They didn't respect Bad Bats.
They got
cleaned up.
Yeah, or Yoda or the Black Sun.
I had to roll like 11 saves, and I missed 5 or 4. It was like just enough to clear them, and it was like, man, that was painful.
Yeah, it was Luminous, right? So it was 6 aims.
Yeah,
was, possible.
A 6 aimed shot into Mandalorians. They're not going to live, even if they have surging reds. They're not going to live through 11 saves. Like, the average just says you die.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are newer,
right around there, right?
It's right around 4 misses. And for those of you that are newer, there's like a tendency to blame dice, but once you start looking at averages, you're like, oh yeah, that was the foregone conclusion because I just took too much heat. I find this frequently when I play games. It's like people who are newer, they tend to go straight to, well, my dice were bad. And it's like, well, actually, your dice were average. Because you just...
Well, and even if they were, psychologically, the bad rolls are going to stick out to you way more than the good rolls.
Oh, yeah. It's just part of our brains.
Yeah. It's just how it works. So you may be averaging out over the whole thing. But in that instance, that was a bad roll. It happens.
Yeah, speaking of averaging out over the whole game,
sometimes it happens too late.
Yeah, like in our game where I
Yeah.
missed 9 out of 10 on Surging
Yeah.
Reds, which was
To be fair, that was across 2 attacks.
that was across 2 attacks. Okay, sure.
It caught me off guard when you guys were saying 1 out of 10. I was like, when was 1
Well, yeah,
out
that's
of
because
10?
I'm counting. That's because I'm counting
It
the
was
whole.
2 attacks.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
2
it was.
attacks, but
It was pretty wild to watch.
It was
it
Yoda.
resulted in a dead Maul and another dead Mando.
Yeah.
I believe.
Well, they didn't want to roll blocks against Yoda because,
Apparently,
yeah.
The green frog is too intimidating.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that turn was like throwing up a prayer. Like you had swarmed me like crazy on that breakthrough. I had to throw every play that I could, not expecting it to go that well or even hoping, just have to roll the dice. I'm out of options. Like you put the pressure on me, so I have to put the pressure back. And
Right.
then Yoda just God kills Maul in the first attack and then gets to kill a Mando in that same act. And it changed a lot.
Yeah, it crushed what I was trying to do. And I
Yeah.
mean, that said, the game was still fairly close, but at the same time, it was like, was it really? Could I really have pulled it back? And there's maybe like one instance where I could have pulled it back, but I really think what sunk me was not scoring on round 2. And if I had scored 2, it would have at least put me in a position to tie.
Okay. Yeah.
But even then I had lost so much, and
Yeah.
it was really kind of sad because the Black Sun, I believe, had a good attack and they kind of bounced, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Yoda rolled
Yeah,
offense and defense like a maniac.
yeah, and even on the opposite side, the Magdets as well. Kind of, we did like 3 wounds, but then we got swarmed by clones.
Yeah.
Wasn't much we could
all
do
my
over
clones were there.
Yeah, the entire
It was-
like you had like what 500 points of clones over there just swarming in.
At least
You did. I mean, that
Six
specific
hundred.
attack though, David, like
Mhm.
you popped out and took the shot, and even if you God rolled and you kill and you wipe that commando unit, like your guys still get smoked.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's nothing I
Like-
can do. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a delaying action. Like I knew I was going to lose the point, but at least I can like bait him in and get the frag grenades off, when I need to.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to like run across the board in the face of commando fire. It came down to the terrain too, because I had this like wall that I could hide next to in the POI.
Yes.
And it's
That
like,
wall
well,
was perfect.
you just can't do anything about it except approach the POI and try to score. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
I'm going to pop out and get it. And it's like, it's one of those, another thing about, we discussed in the previous episode too about zoning, which is like, sometimes you just have to predict that you're going to take a loss, and that's okay because you're going to win the game anyway.
Yeah.
So you can't really be hostage to, there's certain times where you do care about unanswered damage, and certain times you don't care about unanswered damage. And that's the case where you don't care anymore. We just walk in and say, okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to take, I'm going to
2 units there. Like
I'm going to lose a
I had
unit,
to
but who
run that
cares, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At that point, it's like, who cares? Let's see. So, again, the battle cards. We can sort of rewind a little bit to turn 0. I believe I was blue, and there was an interesting situation
I
where
hated
blue
this
flipped
situation.
intel. Yeah, it was really interesting where blue and red both got intel simultaneously, and it was kind of like the shoe was on the other foot because it kind of forced red into a ban that red didn't want to make, if that makes sense. That's kind of how it fell out. And Brian, I know that you observed this too, in our turn 0, because I think it was like, I think we got close the pocket, and I said no because Yoda's going to double force push me on that. And I went to breakthrough, but then it was like a forced thing where John had to ban something, and I forget what he had to ban.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
anytime you're blue player, if the opening flop of your advantage is is advanced intel, then you're feeling good about being blue player, because it's the only time that you can get 3 cards of yours that your opponent may not want out there. And so now if you can do that, like say you have your primary, you're super happy about it. They have their secondary, which is not great for you. And now you have your advanced intel, and you can say, okay, here's my secondary, And now I've got my secondary, which is great for my list, my primary, which is great for my list, and advanced intel. And now your opponent, who's red player, they can only ban out 2 of those. And one of them, most of the time, and rightfully so, should be the advanced intel. So you're getting one of a certain situation that is really good for you. So that's the only time that for a blue player that you're like, yes, this is a huge advantage for me. That's the perfect scenario that you want as a blue player. Oddly, is that you want that setup, which is weird because everyone's like, well, what about my advanced intel? Yeah, sorry. The advanced intel is a sacrificial land because it's getting you an excellent setup.
Right. You're able to sort of like maneuver the other parts of the battle deck into the position, which is sort of what happened because it was like, okay, well, I can flip to breakthrough, which is favorable. And then we could flip into recon mission, which was favorable, or not favorable, at least neutral. It was more neutral than favorable, but yeah. Right. But it was like, okay, I was like, I have a plan for breakthrough. I know what I'm going to do here. And I felt comfortable going in. It was just the execution was off because I hadn't done it in several games because I've been playing lists that didn't use this many Mandalorians and didn't use swoops before. So this was like my first game back on swoops in a while. And it felt really good actually.
Yeah.
And I hope it feels as good on real tables as it does online because that's just swoops just add that level of mobility. They have this mobility that Shadow Collective lacks elsewhere, apart from buses, and buses are just kind of clunky and they die to ion and land speeders. But I mean, if you go to a tournament where no land speeders show up, you're feeling pretty good about life. When Crucible was one of those tournaments, we actually had no land speeders show up at Crucible, which was really weird. We had like 50 something players and only like 4 or 5 showed up actually, and even then 2 of them were like naked because it was the axe spam.
No, there were only 2 land speeders.
There were only 2?
There were only 2, and they were both with the free gun only.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Land speeders
I think it was Mowgli that brought it.
Yeah, it was Rob, yeah.
He's just a maniac.
Land speeders are bad. Who plays those?
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen reason to be scared of them yet. So
what do you do, Brian? Like you do the unstable astromech is fairly priced.
Yeah, man. It's
not like that's changed in years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same.
So why 6 now? Points. Why is everyone freaking out about it?
Everyone's observing the power of the end of round double tap. That's why.
Yeah, but it's been that way.
I know that's. I mean, my first kind of breakout time in competitive Legion was my triple FD double land speeder.
Yeah,
and
I remember the pizzas, the pizza delivery system.
That's right. That's the first time I ever met you, John. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember our conversation, but it was when I went up to Jay Shalansky, and I was like, hey, Jay, you don't know who I am, but you will by the end of the day. And he's like, okay. And so I went up to him afterwards and talked to him, and we were chatting, and he's like, what, you went 5-0 or what? You went 4-0 with your list? I was like, yeah, I'm 4-0. And then you look at me and go, but who did you play against? Wow. And I was like, immediately like,
He's going to believe. The non-believer.
It was awesome. And then ever since then, John and I are good friends.
Who'd you play against? Oh man, what a question.
I mean, it's a fair question.
It was a totally fair question.
But he went on to like annihilate at that Gen Con or Adepticon.
Yeah.
So I got top 8, and I had it was me and Luke Cook. And he. It was a great game, but
that was where Luke lost at the end. Yeah,
I lost at the end. I could have moved one of my speeders in a position to block some of his stuff to seal the win, and I didn't see the play, and so it was cool. It was a great game. He definitely deserved it.
That's where Luke could have been the 3-time.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
No, I think that was earlier. I think that was like
earlier?
Luke's second. Yeah.
No, this was the non-Worlds Adepticon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in my head, it was like, because of COVID. Yeah, that's right.
So it wasn't an official world tournament. It was still Adepticon.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that goes to the world tournament was still there. But yeah,
we all viewed it as a
pseudo
Adepticon. Yeah.
Yeah, but even then, even way back then, what was that 2020? That's 5 years ago.
That's even back way back in Legacy of Legion.
Because I was deployed 2020.
Yeah, so it was 21.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was it was double tapping land speeders like
4 years ago.
Yeah.
4.5 years ago. And now we're freaking out.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Legion has never had a fixed meta.
No. Well,
Never. It's never had a fixed meta. It's never been solved.
Blizzard.
There have been times where it's gotten pretty bad, like Rex, when you could share standby.
That was a mistake.
Overwatch standby was not pleasant to play against.
Overwatch standby fire support shots.
I always felt like if you ever feel like you're punished for just trying to play the game, like executing basic actions in the game, something's up. Like this is just wrong. Yeah. Anyway, that's so I mean, John and I, we played a great game, and we were really appreciative of everybody that came out to watch. We're going to continue doing these exhibitions. The next exhibition is October 8th after LVO is done. We're going to be doing some custom commanders from CIS and GAR.
Nice.
And we're going to be doing we've postponed the Vader off. I believe so.
Okay.
We've postponed the Vader off at this time. So we were going to have a Vader versus Vader, but the community voted that down and said we'd rather see custom commanders in action.
That's
so
fair.
yeah, it's a little more topical than an old competitive beef.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, I've been playing against a lot of both Vaders lately, and they are both very good. Extremely different, though.
Oh yeah,
extremely different.
Yeah,
I hate them both.
Yeah, as much as I hate to give any wins to the British, they might have a point about Commander Vader.
Commander Operative is crazy fast, though.
I know.
Well, it's
double the speed 2 with scatter. It's
I know.
So fast.
Commander Vader is just a turtle outside of Implacable Burst.
Yeah,
he's a turtle.
It's expensive turtle.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's fun that I think it's a lively debate, and I think that both sides have excellent points. I personally I'm much more a fan of Commander Vader.
I think they fill different roles.
Yeah. I just have a hard time getting away with. I play against clever players know how to manipulate suppression, and because of that, Commander Vader with Inspiring Presence just feels so great.
Yeah, he shuts that off.
Inspiring Presence, jeez.
Yep.
Yeah, so you have the range 4 Infinite Courage. Yeah.
Yep.
You stop that right.
Vader can just kind of float and say no suppression gimmicks for you.
That's the Vader that you have to target and kill with prejudice.
Yep.
Yeah, that Vader needs to go.
Yeah.
But all his little minions are scoring POIs every single time.
I know.
And then he plays Fear and Deadman, and he's like, "You really want to try that?"
Oh, I'll try it.
Yeah. I don't
Tunnel vision or not.
Tunnel vision or no. Yeah. All right. Well, this is a good segue, right? Because we can move on to.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Good setup. I'll just catch that pass, and we'll go into now our topic of the week, which is going to be tunnel vision. Tunnel vision is a phenomenon. Let's define it maybe a little bit. It's kind of a when you get a little too focused on one area of the board and then something catches you by surprise you may not have noticed because you were so focused on that one area of the board. For example, I was tunneling on my Mandos and I didn't remember that Yoda could just force push me. And it's like, it's cool. You can go there, but you won't be there for long. So it's a matter of like, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on like, how do you break out of that tunnel vision? How do you like? It has to be like a deliberate process, right, where you zoom out and take stock of the whole board. Yeah.
So for me, the times where I felt like tunnel vision is the most dangerous is when we're playing like in specific scenarios, like bring them to heal or recon mission, right? Where you have to have 2 enemy units within clear line of sight in order to get your point, or things like what's another one? Like sweep and clear, knowing your which areas of the board that you've attacked up from already and scored. That's another one. And so like those things, making sure that you're not so focused on killing units that you lose out on victory points. That's really, really important. It's the same with what's it called, bunker assault. It's very easy to get a tunnel vision of like, I just want to kill stuff because that's why I love this game, because I love killing things. It's important. It's fun. But at the same time, like, if you tunnel vision on killing stuff and you're like, oh, I killed this unit, and you're like, oh no, I can't score my recon mission now. And now we're going to tie 11-11 at the end of the game, and I'm losing on kill points. Dang it. Like that's tunnel vision to me. It's like when we just lose sight just for a small moment because we want to do this other cool thing, but it costs us the game. Like, So, yeah.
I think you asked when, David, and I think there is no win. Like, it has to be constant. You have to always. You can't let it float too far into your subconscious what the win condition is, which almost always is victory points. You have to always, like, not saying every single action has to contribute to that because it can't always, but you have to always be victory points first.
I think it's I know some people get annoyed when I use chess analogies because maybe they don't play chess or maybe it's a little too on the nose or something. But I think of it like, because I played like real time strategy. I played chess. I played a lot of these strategy games where it's like you're in a battle for resources, and in a sense, strong moves develop the board. And I guess in our case, it's like we have a goal in mind, and we need to make these strong moves that get us to our goal, right? So we're trying to optimize every move that we make, and much like in chess, where like the optimal move is to control the middle. Generally, that's kind of what they teach at the basic level, is to control the 4 squares in the middle of the board. You control the rest of the board by extension. In a similar way, we see that in Legion with scout moves and pushing things up the board quickly with infiltrate. You're fighting for board space, you're fighting for board control and presence on the board, in the name of scoring those victory points, because it really is a victory point race. That's kind of the name of the game these days, and it's not death matching. It's not just combat, like you said, John. So that's like one type of tunnel vision where it's like, kind of playing for vibes, playing for the joy, the thrill of rolling dice without a clear path to the win in mind. That's one kind of tunnel vision where it's the sort of laxity and like unwillingness to be sort of like being unfocused. But then there's the other kind, which is like a hyper focus, which is like, I've got this really great move in mind. One of them is like a cunning Black Sun shot, But then something changes on the board, and it's like, well, I really want to do this move, but if I don't do this other move that's also more important, I will just lose the game. And so it's more important then to avoid the flourish, I guess, because a lot of times, in a fight, maybe you'll end up in a position where you're like, I have this move was very aesthetic, but I cannot make this aesthetic move. I have to make the ugly, simple move that wins me the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
No style points granted in Legion.
No, there's no style points. There's no points for style. You have to just play. You have to play the winning move at all times, essentially.
Yeah.
So I think.
Go ahead, John.
Going off of what David said, the kind of like my decision process, because he's like helping me verbalize it here. Every unit kind of goes through this, even just this 2-step decision-making process. One, can it contribute to the main objective? Yes, do it. If no, then work to establish my presence better on the board, to favor or to make my position better, which is normally by killing or by sometimes by like tying something up or making something harder to putting suppression out even. So just having every single unit, even when they can't contribute directly, like there are indirect ways that they contribute to victory. Like
Yeah, and also like kind of understanding like your unit's role. Like
Yes.
you've got say you like playing Force users. Say you're a big Vader fan or a big Op Luke guy or Anakin guy, right? There's so many times where a game will come down to where you need to activate your unit early, but you also need to keep him safe, right? And so knowing that you can go into a unit, attack it, and decide how much pierce you're going to do on that unit to make sure that you don't kill the whole unit. Because if you kill the whole unit, then you're out there in the middle of nowhere and everyone's going to shoot at you, right? But it's small little things like that. Like, yeah, you can get tunnel vision of wanting to wipe this. Like, oh, this is their Ahsoka Super Squad, and there's only 4 models left, and I want to kill it. You know, yeah, you do want to kill it, but you don't want to kill it at the expense of Anakin right now. So you're going to jump into it, and you're going to pierce everything except for one, and make sure that they live on one die or on one mini, and you're just going to be happy where they're at, and you're going to kill that next round.
There you go.
So there's just so many times where those kinds of plays come up, or where you're force pushing minis away and you're like, okay, I can force push them over here and I can just throw these minis over here, or I could force push them here and cohere all these minis in this way and make it very difficult for my opponent to score this POI. Let's do that one. Like there's so many times where if you're going through the motions of your regular routine, you're going to miss out on those small stuff. And so practice those small things, those small instances, like, oh, if I slow it down or if I zoom out, like Dave was talking about, if I zoom out, then this is what's going to help me right now, as opposed to this other thing that I do normally. And yeah.
So what, I think what got us onto this topic for this week was I mentioned that the game that finally kicked me out of Crucible was because I got a little tunnel vision against Austin Miller. And I lost sight of what Bad Batch's regular role is for me in my lists, and 2, of the objective in its entirety. The scenario was we were playing Close the Pocket. Bad Batch drew Vader away to the side. Perfect. That's what I want. Lets Yoda manipulate the board more freely. But the tunnel vision came when Bad Batch was surviving like an average amount of Vader swings. I was like, oh, this is actually like I could potentially kill Vader. You know, like this is a good moment. I should just like swing with everything I've got. We played Fear and Dead Men. I didn't give it a second thought. I was like, yeah, we got like 7 dice. We're going to see if Vader can roll saves. He did not roll saves. And Fear and Dead Men meant that I also took wounds. Unfortunately, it did not mean Vader died. But what it did mean is Bad Batch went down to like 4 or 5 health remaining, which put it in range of an average Vader swing kill. That happened, freed up Vader, let Vader come deal with Yoda, and lost me the game. Because I was too focused on, kill Vader. Let's kill Vader. Instead of the objective of tie up Vader. Keep him distracted.
Keep him where he's at. Yeah.
Just dodge standby.
Dodge standby.
Like,
yeah.
You don't need to attack.
So this is a great example for a maturing player, right? Like someone who is like, they've got sort of the basics mastered, but they're looking for like ways to improve their game. I think, John, what you described is really, really important, because this is and I'm going to relate another anecdote from our game that is the same thing. Like, sure, I could have, I would make a lot about missing the saves that I made on Maul, but if I had been thinking about the follow through and the consequences of my going first on round 2, if I had really been thinking about those if I was more clear-eyed about it and less, I guess, what I would call bloodthirsty, wanting to kill off that clone medic squad with choke, just like going -1 because I'm going to score this point, I'm going to win it. And Maul was not worth that. But at the same time, like in the same sense, like for Bad Batch, punching Vader during Fear and Dead Men was not worth it because, like you said, it created a chain of events following that put Vader back in the battle. And it's kind of tough because, again, like, whatever the dice results are is hidden information until they happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's having to make like a calculation and thinking about the routes forward from that moment, like because there's every game will have like a break point or a breaking point where something will happen that is irreversible, and someone will take like irreversible damage, or some mistake will happen where it's like I cannot recover from this. So Bad Batch taking as many wounds and then dying to a Vader swing, that's like huge, right? That's a really big wound to one player. And I guess what I'm trying to say is having the mental space to say, okay, let me just take a breath and think about the two possibilities. Is this attack going to be worthwhile? What are the consequences of if this attack works, what are the consequences? If this attack doesn't work, what are the consequences? And it's tough because like when you're playing like at a GT, it's a little easier because you're not like on a clock. You can take a little bit of time to think about it. You can take like a minute and a half or so. When you're in the Invitational, which I'm going to be playing, and it's a clock situation. The clocks are 70 minutes, so you got to come up with something because you don't want to clock yourself out. But no, it really is a question of like thinking about the follow through of each move. Yes. And trying to at least think one step ahead, if not two, if it's possible. I know there's a lot of randomness, but like thinking back to our game, John, like I did not have a way out for Maul acting when he did. I just didn't have a way out, and I opened him up to a Bad Batch range shot. I opened him up to a Yoda push, move, charge. I opened him up to a lot of things without thinking.
Yeah.
And so that kind of put me in a bad place, and I think that's just a seminal example of like what tunnel vision can do, especially when you're playing like big kahuna force users. You gotta be able to have some control and some mastery over what they do. Otherwise you're just gonna play with 200 points behind your back.
Yeah. I mean, you think about like say you're a Rebel player and you play Sleeper Cell, or you're a Guard player and you play ARC Troopers, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're looking for a big shot with those guys, and knowing when to take that big shot is really important. And then also saying like, okay, I'm going to go take this big shot. What happens if everything goes my way? What are the consequences, right? What happens if nothing goes my way with this decision? What are the consequences? And is that going to be a problem? Chances are most of the time it's going to be somewhere in the middle there. But knowing and fully understanding the consequences of that decision, being like, okay, I'm going to come here. If nothing goes my way, is this worth it? Is this decision worth it? And if the answer is no, then maybe that decision should wait a little while.
Yeah.
There's a fine line between bravery and stupidity, and a lot of that depends on your tolerance for risk.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd go another step on top of that too and say, like, when you're about to make these big plays, what's your backup?
Mm-hmm.
Like what do you have something in position to handle the scenario where it doesn't go your way?
Right.
And if not, can you get something in position to handle it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's so many times where you move a unit out and you're like, there's a small unit here that I should kill, and I'm going to move this out here, and I kill that unit, and because when that unit dies, my unit will be safe.
Yeah.
But if that unit doesn't die, and you lose your unit, then we're like, oh shoot.
Oh yeah.
Something went terribly wrong here.
Yes.
What's the catch? What's the cliche? Hoisted in our own petard. We've trapped ourselves.
I immediately regret this decision.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So it's really just a matter of like, because I think zooming out takes some deliberate effort.
It
Just
does.
getting that
It does.
10,000 foot view of the board.
It does. In a little bit of a way. It's kind of a lot related to the strategy that I talk about in my article
Mhm.
about. I feel like I won a solid half of my games by distracting my opponent with, "Hey, Bad Batch is over here. They're going to do mean, scary things," but they weren't winning the game for me. Everything else was, and they created the space to do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um,
I think Bad Batch has this has a reputation.
Oh, they do.
You know,
I love it.
They have a reputation,
Keep it up.
which is kind of cool because
Yeah.
it's that way in the lore.
Yeah.
So they've managed to perfectly capture the lore in the game, which is their goal as designers, which is awesome, right? So, our goal as players is to navigate those choices and make good decisions that win us the game ultimately. But like you say, it's like you're presenting multiple threats, and one of them is winning you the game, and so it's your ability to sort of perceive as the opponent, you have to perceive, what's the most dangerous thing for me right now, and who's actually going to win the game. And that's a tough question. You don't always know that at the top of the round.
I know it with my own pieces, but
Right.
you have to figure out what my plan is.
Exactly. You have to solve that puzzle.
Yeah. I'm not giving you any hints.
Nope.
So what scenarios, what game modes do you guys find your tunnel vision is most difficult to overcome?
Let's see.
Close the pocket is a tough one because I think it's all about the middle. It's all about the middle. Well, actually, if you hold the sides, you can neutralize the middle.
Yeah.
See, I think the exact opposite of that is I'm happy to ignore the sides because if I hold the middle, it feels like less effort to hold the middle in one spot than to hold two things.
Mm-hmm.
For my list, at least.
Well, I think I think one of the biggest blind spots I see on Close the Pocket is that people aren't afraid to move off their back point into the middle because there's some weird situations where it's like if I don't make this move, I'm -1 VP, and I think we covered this a few weeks ago, but
it happened in one of the games.
It happened in one of our games, against Nathan. It happened in our game.
Yeah.
And then the other one that I was thinking of was shoot, I just lost it. Go ahead, Brian. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I think especially with Close the Pocket, one thing that I've found is that especially with a table that has really good firing lines, there's a lot of times where we get overwhelmed with the desire to attack instead of double move. Because we need to make sure that we're putting ourselves in a position to win either the middle or both sides.
Yes.
And personally, I think generally you want to try to just I like loading up one side and winning my side and the middle. I like doing that. But it's just so important to have your speed 2 units that have 2 actions to be range 2.5 from a POI.
They only get 4 actions before that first time scored.
Yes. Yeah. And so that's I think part of tunnel vision is like, okay, well, yeah, I can move my shores up and take a shot. But does that mean that my shores can't get to the middle anymore? And if that's the case, do I lose the middle? And if I lose the middle, is this shot is this 6 black dice or 6 black 2 white dice worth that shot? And the answer is probably no most of the time.
I feel that a lot because when I play my Mandalorians, and maybe this will clue my opponents that listen to this before they play me in the Invitational. When I play my Mandalorians, if I am not able to move to a place where I can then move again to a POI, I don't do the rocket.
Yeah,
because it's way too important to just get them in position. And I'm a maybe a little too aggressive with them, but at the same time, it's like I know I have the movement to make these safe moves, and like I'll come on last and just I'll be able to move into the POI in round 2 and attack something if I need to, and I'll sacrifice the turn 1 rocket shot if I need to make that happen because I know that I want to get them shooting on round 2 because that's usually round 2 is a big power spike turn for Shadow because usually play them all 3 on round 2, so.
Yeah.
That's just what I do. Sometimes I play the cunning card, but other times you play Seize because you have the power spike from the surge tokens. So it's one of those situations where it's like just relating to what Brian is saying is like I'm giving up an attack in order to be in the right place on the following turn is really critical. And I think that separates a lot of like 101 to 102 level thinking in the game. Like 101 level is move to the objective. 102 level is like time your movement so that you can weave in an attack and get to the POI on time. Right? That's kind of like the 102 level thinking.
Yeah.
That we're looking for.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how many moves it takes to get to that center POI on Close the Pocket, because it might be like 4 moves to get there for speed 2 units. It's at least 3 moves out of your 4 actions.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't mapped it out. I just always make sure that my guys are 2.5 range.
Well, and it's not likely you're moving directly for it with your first 2 actions.
There's usually terrain in the way.
Yeah, and terrain's in your way. So round 2, you're absolutely not shooting with units that are trying to get onto the middle.
Yep. When I played CIS, all my B1s would just move. I would not even bother to shoot with them. Just move, and just put them on points and be like, okay, now I have 18 wounds on this point. Good luck.
All my B1s double move all the time anyway as well because I run double stuff rad cannons.
Right, so he's like, I move all the time anyway. I'm doing exactly what I need to do. Who wants to stop a range 3 and take a shot if it means they lose out on a point,
Yeah.
And thus Modern Legion sort of it flows from that statement, where range 3 is not as prevalent as it once was.
Yeah, it's
range 3 is not as prevalent, but I would say range 4 is still very strong.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's like 4 and 2 are like the strong
4 and
ranges.
2 are kind of like the sweet spots now, which is personally why I know Dave and I have different views on the Super Mandalorian Commando Heavy.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why I like the Gunslinger. It's because you can Gunslinger with the rockets because you can hit that range 4 and the very next turn you can hit the range 2. Because their speed 3 gets over that whole range 3 range band.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's I agree. It's range 4 and range 2 are hot, and it's using those. We're seeing more gun lines be more popular now because people are starting to figure out that range 4 is really powerful, and it's. I love how the game has evolved from everyone thinking that it's just a brawl on POIs to much more of actually these kind of work still.
Yeah, I remember when 2.6 came out, people were like, well, we can't do the objectives, everything just dies. And it's like, well, actually. And then it's evolved kind of towards like how much movement economy can I squeeze into my list, because we have like just about everything that's successful right now is like scouting or it's infiltrating or it's doing some kind of movement shenanigan.
Yeah,
I pulled up TTS and did check how many speed 2s to get to the middle and close the pocket.
Yeah,
3 moves gets you 2 inches away still.
Oof.
So you still need 4 moves for a normal.
So speed 3 is really huge there.
Speed 3 would be enough to break it into just 3. Yeah.
So speed 3 is really powerful. Any sort of vehicle or unit with a larger base is very powerful.
Scout vehicle or scouting, any scouting vehicle or scouting infantry.
Yeah.
Crab droids, I'm thinking of, because they have scout and they can give something else scout. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But just to tie it back to the topic of tunnel vision and like that sort of 102 thinking, it's how to say this. Oh shoot, I lost it again. I'm gonna have to edit that out.
It's all good. There's another common one for tunnel vision is for me is shifting priorities, because there's some really cool stuff you can do with shifting priorities if you're able to keep your view zoomed out. Things like noticing how the table's developing on round one, and noticing like, okay, I want to take these POIs over here, and I want to take these POIs, but that one I'm going to push way off in the distance because they have that sleeper cell on it, and I don't want to deal with that sleeper cell. So we're just going to take that sleeper cell out of the game, and I'm going to bring these other ones to me, and I'm going to lose I'm going to lose on round two deliberately. I'm going to score 2, and they're going to score 3, but I'm going to bring that middle one a little bit closer to me so that I can win that one the rest of the game. And like those kinds of early on decisions. And positioning the POIs in a way that are knowing where those POIs should go with shifting is really that's kind of like that zoomed out view that keeps you from that tunnel vision of like, I have to get 3 POIs, otherwise I lose this game. Because that's not always the case. Shifting is one where you can wait if you're positioned correctly.
So, not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna lose like the first few shifting games I play, because I might have played it once, and it's like, from how you talk about it, it sounds way more in depth than I give it credit for.
Shifting is super dynamic. Like,
yeah, I don't like it.
It's also really good for high activation lists.
That's fair.
I've played against Trent, runner up at Worlds, and I've played against him a lot. And every time I play him, he plays like 14x CIS, and I'm up against him on shifting. And the guy, like, he's so good at like doing what I call between moves, where it's like, okay, I have the spider droid, for example, and it's round 2, and I put my spider droid in this place where it's like, I could turn and go this way, double move to the point, or I could turn and go this way and double move to a different point, and you can't stop me because you can't damage me or kill me because I'm an armored spider with 6 health. And he's really good at doing this, where it's like he positions himself in such a way that he's able to math it just so that you just cannot get around to the fact that he's got more stuff than you do.
Just giving himself options.
Just giving himself options. Yeah. Flexibility, right? No, and it's like, and again, it's like every unit in the list has this mobility shenanigan. Geonosians, spiders don't have it, but they still have double move on a big base, on a medium base, which is pretty darn far. Aqua infiltrate, Asajj, double move with a scout from a crab or something, like something like that. Asajj, well, relentless for Asajj, so she's double move, and attack because she has relentless. But again, it's all about these movement shenanigans, where it's like you have to, if you're able to spread yourself out in a way that's like, you're able to spread out in a way that the math just ensures you're going to win primary initially. And then also Trent does something where he's able to do the secondary really rapidly as well. That's part of his style. So again, it's like how quickly Trent capitalizes on the board is just really wild to me. And it's like that's like a level up from where I'm at right now, and it's just obvious to me. But again, that kind of relates to just like army construction and like, just again, like it really is a zoom out perspective, because it's like, okay, and I'm not looking at the board unit by unit. I'm looking at the board army by, like, my whole army. I'm looking at it, and my army is then going to move basically like, I just envision like every point has like a number over it, and like this one has 3, and this one has 3, and now this one has 4 because my opponent had 3 there. So it's like really just zooming out and getting that big perspective, that big picture, and not even thinking about unit to unit combat at all. Just thinking about position of the army relative to the objectives. Really is critical.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why also having that idea of potential points for your opponents on POIs, and also having tricks up your sleeves to make sure that you can surprise your opponent on ways that they're that they're doing POI calculations, right? And so things like force push are fantastic for that. Things like guidance is really good for that, because you can surprise your opponent on how many units you can get on a POI. Things like suppression bombs are great for that.
Those surprises do have a limited value though, right? Like they're great first half of the tournament, but then like as your opponents start to be better and better, like they're probably going to see those surprises, right?
Well,
and they just become like standard options.
Some of them you can't do much about.
No, but they can be planning for it, right? They could bring an extra unit in range of 2 objectives to be able to flex for when that does happen.
I'm thinking specifically of like if you were relying on force push and then someone overclocks a Magna Guard into you, and you give yourself an immobilize. Like you make yourself immune to force push. So that screws up the math there, like overclock.
Yeah,
I'm thinking specifically about this is probably a subject for next episode.
Yeah.
We can talk about this. We can talk about the customs.
That's a Magna that deserves 6 suppression.
Yeah.
Panic
or
sucker.
need to be suppressed like crazy.
Or you just walk away because your unit has disengaged.
Right. That's definitely a topic for a different show. I think we're going to wind it down there. Thanks, Brian and John, for coming on and being awesome hosts. And again, great game, John. I hope we were able to play again sometime. And I hope I don't screw up so bad. But we'll see what happens.
I'll pray for more dice luck like that.
Yeah, hopefully next time we play, I don't punt and then get bad variance on top of the punt. All right.
Oh, man.
All right. Thanks, guys, for listening. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, and hopefully I'll be on stream at LVO.
Hey.
See you later.
See ya.
See ya.